Yeah, so before starting today's concepts, let's try to recollect it, what we were understanding yesterday. Yesterday, first two concepts which we were understanding. So launching the EC2 instance, that's already we know it. But metadata, how do we use it? Yes, once the EC2 instance is available, and if you'd like to get some details or data about that EC2 instance, then AWS is providing the separate URL link, that is 169.254.169.254 with that IP address. Then we can request it, the information which is required of that EC2 instance. But token key, that is security authentication point of view, the latest version, token key also we need to use it. That command we are talking that. Yeah, the first, that's metadata section, understanding from the EC2 instance. Then using that metadata, yeah, if you would like to define this, the custom application deployment for that Apache is while launching the EC2 instance itself, then we are talking about the one more concept, that is user data. Metadata is information about that EC2 instance, but using that information is during the runtime, so we can generate application the pages is with that information, and we were launching the Apache service during provisioning of the system. But how do we, so that is normally we are doing that Apache setup once the system is ready, right? But during the launching time itself, whatever the packages management, users management, or service management, or network management, these activities we can define in shell script, and that the shell script or shell commands, and we can use it, use the data section. But user data is going to run it only one time. That is important. While launching time only it is going to executing. But after that, if we change it, then you need to relaunch the instance. That is, terminate the existing one and launch the new one. Yeah, that's also we were understanding that with practically. Then finally, we had about it one pricing optimization point of view. And on the basis of client requirements point of view, as we are talking the launch instance, launch instance, launch instance. But use cases, different use cases will be having from the client. That is, yes, yeah, some projects that is required the EC2 instance to run it, some temporary jobs. Yeah, sometimes I need to have it like license-based softwares to install it. Yes, long-term, the related, yes, I need to have it 1 year or 3 years, that's renting the EC2 instances. And in that 1 year or 3 years is some flexibility on capacity based. That if you have the stabilized application and the constant, then you can go for that fixed reserved instances. But sometimes is on the base of the business models, maybe the capacity of the instances required to increase it or decrease it. Then you can opt for that. The convertible reserved instances. And as we're talking that another scenario, like a business requirement point of view, the working days that is required more resources, and non-working days that is required some constant resources. Then if you would like to handle that schedule based reserved instances and the spot instances, yes, these are all the very cheap compared with that remaining all types. But you have some constraints on it on the basis of the current demand in the region where you are planning to launch the services, the demand based, the cost which will be applicable. Yeah, that is another type. The bidding based, you can take it that instances. But they're all recommended for the temporary workloads to run it, but not for that long term. Yeah, batch processing jobs, if you have just pulling the data from reports and updating to the backend database at the end of the day. If you have those kind of the requirements, then you can use it spot instances and temporarily launch it and do the batch processing, then terminate it. And finally, dedicated host. Yes, if you are looking that the more control on about your the hardware peripherals for about your EC2 instances on the base of the security compliances, yes, then you can go for the dedicated host. The team we have the full control on the placement groups. So that helps about it optimization and as well as security point of view. Yeah, there are the different models that is available, which are providing by the AWS team. And we are understanding that which host is right for us. Yes, that is on the base of the client. First, we need to understand the client specification, client requirement. We are doing that from the scratch, but normally these decisions will be taken by the architects. But if you joined some like level 3 or level 4 companies and no one is there and they are asking that the which instance is recommended, and if they have the kind of the queries, yes, you can think it of it. These are all the solution that we have and you can explain to them and what do they prefer it, then finalizing from their side. Yeah, so this is one concept, and already we are understanding how do we work with the or how do we request for the spot instances, that is bidding based. Let me show this quickly. Are you clear at these points? If you are clear, and to continue the next, use the chat window and type the clear. Or if you have any queries, just let me know. Yeah, I see this clear, good. Yeah, Usha, clear, okay. And what about others? Do you have any queries? Okay, so I hope so. I feel that yes, if you are ideal also, I feel that yes, you are okay to continue, right? Yeah, cool. Thank you. So let me show that the spot instances, how do you request it? Yes, by launching that instances. So normally if you launch this EC2 instance, this is the on-demand by default, but on-demand is a high cost compared with that. Yeah, in the normal temporary workloads pointer. Temporary workloads. So I need the 2-hour system or 5-hour system. Then those cases either refer it on-demand or spot. But on-demand is a high cost. But if you'd like to save the 90% of the cost, then go for requesting for the spot instances. Request for the spot instances, and here you can customize it. So if you don't want to specify the maximum price, then go ahead with that. So you have the confusion with that. So what is the bidding amount, and bidding amount point of view, the whether they're going to terminate. If you are having this kind of the constraints, then don't give that about your maximum price. Then go ahead that the no maximum price. Request the spot instances at the spot price, capped at the on-demand price. Yes, but it will be changed on the base of the demand. The instances will be given that. But as a current cost point of the bidding cost point of view, that will be applied to your instances. Or if you have the specific limit where I can spend only this much amount, and if you have that within that, yes, give me, or otherwise, okay, I'm no issues for me, then you can go for the bidding option. Yeah, this is how you can request the spot instances. If you don't use this option, that is on demand by default. Or we can go ahead and in the instances section, and you can check it about the spot request here also. Yeah, you can use it, the request to spot instances from here. Yeah, manually configure launch parameters or use launch template. Yes, we have this templates because you are defining this virtual machine is nothing but you need to define that AMI, key pair, all those properties, right? So they're asking us, do you want to go ahead manually configure all these parameters or use launch template? Template concept, I'll come back. Templates and AMIs. Once this concept is discussed, that is the next one. Yeah, target capacity, how many instances that do you want that? And set a maximum cost for spot instances. Yes, if you have this any bidding amount, yes, you can define it, or otherwise automatically replace the interrupted instances. Yeah, suppose here we have that option is in case that instance has been terminated, suppose bidding amount has been reached by that the demand point of view, and you have given that less amount than the current demand, then instances will be taken back, right? That is interruption. Fine. Yeah, please mute that, the mic. Yeah, fine. So if you have this like during the termination time, if the AWS team is, as we are talking of the 2 minutes notification, they are going to terminate it if you bid for that. So whenever they are doing the termination, what is that like interruption behavior? Do you want to terminate it or do you want to stop the instance? Do you want to hibernate it? Yes, normally default is a terminate. The interruption behavior that will be taken out of that. So once that's the particular cost has been reached. But if you don't want that and you would like to stop it and then you would like to apply that the maximum cost, that means I don't want to lose that instance. Then you can define that the spot stopping that instance. Then you can change the bidding cost, and if it is a high value than the current demand, then again you can use it that instance. You can start it and you can reuse that. But mostly spot instances which you are taking is nothing but termination behavior, the expected. Means even that is terminated also, where we should not lose that any data. In such a way, you need to plan it. Yeah, so this is about the request. From here also you can do that. But inputs you need to provide it, which AMI. So what is the key pair name and additional parameters as we're talking that volumes and the user data sections. Yeah, so this is the user data section, tags. Yeah, whatever we are talking that about that the same, but this is the section where you can define how many instances required and the what is the cost for it and what is the behavior of that interruption. The remaining network settings and these are all like instance type, these are all the same thing. That's as we're talking that. Yeah, so that is about spot instances request. Next, as we're talking that reserved instances. Yeah, so here also you can request for that or you can purchase the reserved instances. As we are talking about it here, types, fixed one, convertible, right? Fixed one, convertible. Or do you want to pay that upfront or after that? That means the monthly bill wise. Yeah, on the basis of these points, the charges will be applicable. If you go for the fixed one, that is suppose offering clause, you see that we have the standard class, convertible class. Suppose term I am going to take it 1 month to 12 months or 12 months to 36 months. Either you have the 1 year or 3 years, the duration to take it. Suppose I opted for the 1 year, and for my offering classes, so my application, I know the standard one, that is standard load. I don't expect any yes, capacity, maybe capacity of that instance either increasing or decreasing. Then I can go for the standard. Then what is the capacity of about your instance? So T3 micro, if you go for that, that is the 1 GB or 2 GB, that's you will get it something. Or you have these are all the different types. C types are available, M types are available, I types are available. I'll talk it. That's the next concept. So capacity point of view, yes, you can choose it this option. So you have chosen that instance type and platform type, term, offering class. As we're talking that offering class is the standard or convertible. Convertible is nothing but today I'm taking the T3 micro, but maybe after 2 months, so within the 1 year, I can change the type of instance. So I have the flexibility. But if I go for the standard, searching for that instance and adding to the cart, and if I buy it, those instances, then you cannot do the change about yourself, but you can request it, and if they accept it, once you request it, then they come back to you. But cost which will be, then they charge it more. And the tenancy also is available. Yes, you see that a default is nothing but shared one. As we were talking that the yesterday, shared resources, dedicated the host resources. Yeah, do you want the tenancy dedicated one? Even in the reserved also, you can go for that dedicated. But this is a high cost if you prefer it. But the default is nothing but that is the tenancy shared pool.
Sir, if it is a case of default, we may have some performance issues now, sir, when compared to dedicated.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. The instances may be like one
Where it
instance.
may be a shared instance, in case of dedicated, we have our own instance.
Yeah, yes. You will be having that. Definitely some data. If you are having the large amount of the data transferring on the networking side between the EC2 instances, yes, then definitely you will be having some performance issues. But dedicated, yes, about your you can define it and you can place it about your EC2 instances on the dedicated racks. Then the performance will be increased. But these are all, yes, on the basis of the client requirement, client budget. So what is the application requirement, the data processing models, network capacity, disk capacities, processor capacity, the load on the systems. So all these points that will be considered is not just blindly going and taking that, the EC2 instance. The capacity planning, architects, they do that. If 1 lakh users are accessing that. So what is the, and how many systems that is required? What is the capacity of the systems required? On the base of the is required the request processing point of view, disk read write operations point of view, network data transferring point of view. So all those points that will be considered. Yeah, but we have that option. But on the base of more you are going to have it, yes, a high cost. If you're looking at the security, the performance, and all that, yes, on the base of that options, if you go deeply, then the cost which will be vary. Yeah, so they're all like offering clauses, standard or convertible. Which one do you need it, or is it the shared one or a dedicated one? And which type of instance, which platform do you are looking at 1 year or 3 years? And payment options, do you want to upfront to pay that all the amount? That means add to the cart, then pay immediately. That is upfront. Partial, some amount upfront, some amount on the monthly based. or no upfront. So on the basis of these options also, the cost which will be vary. Whenever you are working in the lab, you can just use it with the different combinations, and you can search here. Here you see this like a T3 micro, and I'm requesting for this 1 year. And a Linux based operating system and tenancy default. Yes, effective rate. Yes, AWS 12 months, you see that all upfront, I have this different cost, and no upfront, then it is increasing some cost, and partial upfront and all upfront, okay, almost the same cost. But here upfront price, yes, how much you need to pay that upfront? Yes, you need to pay that the minimum $27. And here all upfront you will be on the $53 cost. And the quantity, how many available? Yes, unlimited available. How many do you need it? You can select it. How many instances does you need it? So you can select it. So actually this is the units per hour, it is showing that. And once you are okay with that upfront cost or no upfront and which one you need it, then you can select it and you can add to the cart and you can go to this. And on the base of this upfront or no upfront or partial amount, yes, you need to pay that amount. Then the instances will be added to the account. Is it clear about that? The reserved instances with the convertible, standard, the durations, payment options, tenancy model. So if you choose it here dedicated, this is nothing but dedicated instances. This is not the dedicated host. This is a dedicated instance. As we are talking that whenever we stop it and start it, dedicated instances, the placement can be changed. But whatever the hardware resources which have been allocated, it won't be shared to other account holders. That is a security point of view is good. Security compliances if you have, but you are not looking at the performance and all that, yes, then you can use it dedicated instance. This is reserved dedicated instances. Are you clear these points? Type that RI. If you're good with this reserved instances, how you can request it. Okay, good. Now let's talk it how you can go ahead with a dedicated host. So this is about as we are talking about it, the placement group also, which you have that name about your dedicated host and instance family, which family you are looking about it, the type of instance. So M type, C type, R type. I'll give that in which context, which type will you use it that. Yes, choose the family type. And in which availability zone, ARN for it. And host recovery. Yes, automatically restart about your instances onto a new replacement host if about your current host is unreachable. The host recovery, that's do you want to enable it or not? Instance auto placement, do you want that or do you want to control from about your side? Disabling auto placement will preserve the dedicated host for targeting launch requests. Enabling auto placement will allow untargeted, no host ID specified. That means it is going to launch it automatically and the placement taken and it will be defined. And how many instances that's a dedicated host that's required. Yeah, on the basis of the capacity which are taken from that capacity, you can divide it into instances. Yeah, suppose once a dedicated host has been taken, suppose you are launching instance, that instance you need to place it in that particular rack, right? In this dedicated host, right? How do you do that? Yeah, so what is the main advantage? Dedicated hosts allow you to provision EC2 instances on the physical servers fully dedicated for your use. Okay, now you have taken the dedicated host. After taking the dedicated host, but you need to launch the instance in that the dedicated host. Now I have these two laptops and two labs I have configured on the network and everything, that's okay. But whenever I'm planning to launch that EC2 instance, do you want to launch this on the laptop one or do you want to launch this on the laptop two? If you choose that like automatic placement, then it is going to take it about your dedicated the host taking and launching that. So how you define this is, so while launching that EC2 instance, we have that one option. Let me show that this is for the dedicated host. In the advanced settings, suppose if I'm launching this EC2 instance, I need to place it in my dedicated host. Then what is that option which you can use it is, you can go to that advanced detail. You see that's here the placement group. Yes, in which placement that you want to launch this EC2 instance. So if you have this already, you can select it, but if it is not there, yes, you can create a placement group. So the strategies, yes, is it cluster or spread or partition? How do you want to do that? So do you want to place it as a cluster or the partition based or spread based? Then you can create a group, and this placement group, which you have this about your dedicated host, which you need to map it. And finally, whenever you are selecting that, you need to choose that placement group. So if you have this already dedicated host, which have been already created, then while launching time, so just to make sure that the place group you are going to define that. Where do you want to launch whatever EC2 instance if you have the dedicated hosts. This is a property which belong to the dedicated host placement. You can control it where it has to be placed my EC2 instance. But in the dedicated instances, if you would have taken that, then you don't get that scope. That only that this is option only for placement groups, option is only for dedicated hosts. So that is one option. Yes, you can request the dedicated host and define that is a cluster or which one with the placement group. Then while launching that instance, assign that the placement group. So this is another type. And as we're talking about it, another option, scheduled instances. But this scheduled instances is not available in all the regions, only in some specific regions. So if you just observe the scheduled instances, how you can request is or how you can purchase is. Yeah, as we are talking about the schedule, yes, you need to define that some time, the preference. When do you want to start it? But they're all in the UTC time zone based. Yeah, when do you want to start it? The schedule. And how much duration once it has been started that the instances, so instances here availability zone and a platform instance type, these things which you can define it. But yes, do you want to, I mean, once instances have been launched, how many hours do you want to go ahead with that duration? You can define it. Suppose once it is morning 9 a.m. it has been launched. Then next, like the 9 hours, I would like to continue that. Yeah, do you want to happening this one daily or weekly or monthly? If it is a weekly, on which days do you want to do that? I am having the some specific days only, working days, that is Monday to Friday. So then you can add it about that, those days, the where you need to have that, the instances on the particular day. So this is going to happen that every weekly on these days, starting from this day, on these days it is going to starting, and with this duration, the instances will be allowed. So this is a schedule based the taking the EC2 instances. Then you can define that which type of instance that's required, then which platform, in which availability zone that you want to launch it. But normally these are all like in the free tier. Normally we don't get. Let me check it. No instances available in the schedule. Try changing the search parameters. Yes, you need to do that. They're all high demand. So there are not available instances in this specific duration. Then you need to search it in the particular duration. If it is available, then you can find the schedules, and once it is available, then you can go ahead purchasing those instances. Then automatically in the particular schedule, whatever you have defined, the instances will be added to the instances section. Is it clear about this point? The schedule based, but this is not available in all the regions, so only in the North Virginia. But if you go to the Mumbai region, we don't see that option. They didn't give that schedule based instances. A dedicated host we have, reserved instance we have, the spot request we have, but you don't see schedule based one. Yeah, you need to check it. So in which region or data center you are planning that, in that region, the schedule based is available or not. If it is available and if you have the requirement and you can search the instances and on the time zone that is available, then you can opt it. Or if it is not available, then how do we handle that one? Then we have auto scaling group. That is another mechanism. Suppose on the base of the load increasing, that is auto scaling group. But yes, you know that particular schedule, I need these many more instances, then you can schedule it. But handling that on the base of the load, that is scaling features. That's will come back. But these are all okay. I need that for the long term duration or some short workloads point of view or some yes security point of view and with performance point of view. Yes, if you have this kind of the constraints, then you can go ahead and refer these solutions. But e-commerce based application, we don't know that at what time the load is going to increasing or at what time that the load is decreasing. This right? Load is increasing. Yes, more backend resources you need to have it to support it. Load is decreasing, then you need to yes release the resources. Why do you want to keep it whenever you don't need it? That is unnecessary waste of the cost, right? That is, we will talk it in auto scaling. But this is about how you are going to take it the EC2 instances. Or about your long durations point of view or short workloads point of view. The solutions. Is it clear about this offerings from the AWS team? The instances offerings. There all we can say that launching methods. Normally, we are launching is nothing but on demand. Spot instances, reserved instances, yes, like license based. If you have some softwares or long duration, then you can prefer this or dedicated. Then you need to refer that particular documentation whenever you are going to use it. That these are all the change costs that will be applied on the base of the region type of instance which you are choosing. That is it clear about this launch type mechanisms? It's all just for understanding, but we cannot do anything now here. Don't try it also. Know the concept, that's all. Because they're all like cost oriented, determining anything you are touching that. Fine. So let me move to this next activity. Instance types. So instance types, as we are talking, that so many instances types are available. We are using the default in the free tier, that is a T2 micro, which is giving that 1 GB of the RAM and 1 core process units. But what all the other types are available? In the real time, whenever you are setting up the databases on the EC2 instance, which type is recommended? Or if you are the middleware you are planning to launch it, that is a Tomcat server or WebLogic server or WebSphere servers, which type of instance is recommended? Or you are going to launch that cache service or the Redis services, then which type of the instances are recommended for it? So memory optimized, CPU optimized, IO operation optimized. So on the base of these requirements, we have the types of the instances. You see that's almost 400 different types are available. This is also going to change it on the base of the region. But let me high level give that what are the different launch types are available. Then we'll come back looking about that cost and all the points. Yeah, this one we are talking that instance types. We have that R type of instances providing by that AWS team. So when you can use it, these R types are if that applications needs a lot of RAM, that is a cache system. It has to load that performance to increase it. It has to load that some application database data in the cache, and application is going to use the cache instead of it into the databases. Then it saves us a lot of hits on the database, and it improves the application performance. Yeah, if you are looking about it, cache kind of the system to configure it on the EC2 instance, that is a RAM optimized one, then you can choose it R type of instances. Then C type of instances, like a processor based, the application that needs good process units, like compute engines or databases. If you're planning that, then you can use it. You can choose it. These C type of instances, process units. Main. Yeah, M that stands for this medium. Normally, we'll call it. Yeah, applications that are balanced. Suppose middleware components. I'm launching that, like a Tomcat. I need to set up that, and I need to have the virtual machine for it. Tomcat, which is the more into taking the request and handling the request and giving the response back, right? They're all the general purpose or medium type of instance. We can take it and we can choose it M type of instances. Web applications, if you're posting web servers or app servers. Then another one, I type of instances. Suppose you have that per second millions of the transactions. IOPS will call it. IO, input and output operations per second. Huge transactions, writing to the disk or reading from the disk. See, if I'm saving that the file is nothing but file content, it is going to update in the hardware, right? So shell has to communicate with the kernel has to communicate with the backend through that the packets mechanism. It has to, in the binary format, it has to use it and it has to write to the disks. Disks writing the data, reading the data, performance issues will be having. But if you have the millions of the transactions to perform it with storages, then recommended is I type of instances, especially database transactions. You are updating the database or you are inserting the data to the databases or deleting the data from the databases or querying the data is nothing but that is a backend. It is going to read from the disks only, right? Which is in the format of the database format. or you are reading the files, file content reading or files you are writing. So these are all we can say that I type of instances. So if you have that kind of the requirement, yes, plan it item. These are all like normally architects will decide about it on the basis of the capacity planning, the load on that application, services which they are going to use it. Database, we can use it like RDS, directly available. But if you would like to launch, suppose you have about your own licensed Oracle database, then you can use it about your virtual machine from the AWS team and you can install it, the Oracle about your own database. But the database is having the main operations, the disk read write operations. Then think about it, the supported type of instance, capacity. They're all like capacities. Another one is G type of instance. These are all especially for machine learning applications and the video rendering applications. They use it that. GPU, graphical process units. Like a multimedia application, they are designing that and they need to have the virtual machines. Then they can use it that like a temporarily this G type of engine, they can take it and they can use it the multimedia during that cinema processing or whatever it is. And once that is done, they can release back that. And last but not the least, T type of instances. We are using that, the T2 micro, T2, T3. These are all we can say that burstable instances. So up to some capacity they have given that. That is a small capacity. That is 1 GB or 0.5 GB also, like I mean the 0.5 GB also, which you can use it to launch the virtual machine. So if you are expecting that the high capacity, yes, you can take it. Or if you need that for about you suppose technologies.com application. If you go for that AM type or R type, that is a high cost. But I don't want to go to that. But I would like to start with the basic capacity of the systems. Then I can refer that to T2 or T3. These are all the very cheap cost. And capacity is also like that. But suppose technologies.com application I have posted on the T2 by taking the 4 GB amount of the RAM and 2 core process units. But suddenly one day the load is more, that 4 GB RAM is reached the maximum utilization. Then it is going to burst the instance, right? Human system is going to hang because the more load on the application, but 4 GB is not sufficient to handle that requests. Then what's going to happen? The system is going to get a hang because of insufficient RAM. Then if you're going to use the T2 or T3, that's what is the like AWS team they're supporting is if that RAM is reached that maximum capacity, then it is almost in the burstable situation, right? Then what the AWS team they are going to do that is if you have the credits, what are the credits I'll talk it. Then immediately they will allocate it some RAM capacity to that instance to handle that burstable situation in the T2, T3 type of instances. That's why we said the burstable instances. Yeah, you have the constant load, no issues. But some cases, we unexpectedly the load is increased. And some additional process units required or RAM required. Then it is going to handle that by the AWS team, allocating some additional resources on the basis of about your credits. If you have the credits, it will be allowed. Even if you don't have the credits, but if it is you have opted for handle that the burstable situation, then it will be additional cost will be applied to handle that burstable situation. See the beauty. I can start my instance with a low capacity, but I can opt it for credits, or in case some the high load to handle that. Okay, handle the situation. I'll pay that additional amount. Yeah, so the real-time applications is a high-load application. Definitely, they need to look it about these types. But small scale of that applications and constant applications, they can go for that, the less capacity of the systems. But yes, in some worst cases to handle that, the high, the resources allocation, AWS team, they have given that these type of instances. That's we say the burstable instances. Burstable instances and T2, T3 unlimited. Yes, this is the point. If you have the credits, on the base of the credits, that will be allowed. If you don't have the credits, then unlimited if you have opted. Where do you have these options? I'll come back. They're all advanced settings. If you have opted for that unlimited burst, then to handle that the situation, AWS team, they are going to allocate some additional resources and it will be chargeable. Yeah, all this information you can refer that EC2 instances info, the site which they have given here. Yeah, so these instance types also, whenever you are choosing that, these are all on the base of the regions. Yes, so in which region you are planning to launch it. As you see that Hyderabad also they have given the region selection. So it is not selected. Not sure. So like, is it? Let me refresh this. Okay, maybe network is slow, so that's why it is taking the time to launch it. Yeah, suppose you can choose that the region, the particular region, and then instance. So are you looking about it CPU based or memory based? And our cost is hourly. Are you looking that? So reserved type of instances. Yes, now it has been updated. It is taking some time loading that. And 1 year no upfront, or 1 year partial upfront, or full upfront, or 3 year duration. So convertible. These are all standard. These are all the convertible. Yeah, you can refer this all these, but yes, here you can choose it the type of instance also, which is supporting that these are memories and these are all the CPUs and EBS optimized or not. Yeah, instant storage, yes, EBS one, network performance, 5 GB of the data it is you can transfer it. And if you go for this type of instance, yes, this is the cost per hourly. So this is for on-demand type of instance, and this is for reserved cost of that instance, the Linux flavor, and this is the Linux for the spot minimum cost per hourly, and Windows on-demand cost and Windows reserved cost. Yeah, you can opt it what you need it. Then you can compare the pricing models. Yeah, so all the types it has been given. So the T types, you see the T types, it is there, and M types are available, R types are available. So we have this mostly, we see that large or extra large. So R type, you see that they have given that different, but within that also large and extra large, something which you find it like this. So here 16 GB, 2 core process units, and what is the cost of it, and network performance, what you are expecting, and instant storage. Yeah, they're all like SSDs. Obviously EBS SSD, but EBS again we have the types to choose it. Yeah, so this is about, and yeah, so you can just refer about it to this section to estimate about your cost. Yes, if the client is asking that, first let me know that this type of insurance and what is the cost that's we are expecting, then you can give this table and which region that's we are planning, and is it memory based, are you looking that, or is it core process units based, or looking at insurance based, or hourly cost, or is it per second cost, per minute, daily or weekly or monthly. So you can apply that and you can go ahead generating the report on it. Are you clear about these types of instances? So mostly which will get it for the middleware components point of view, M type which will use it, and a database IO operation point of view, I type which we use it. Or if you're the cache system, something you are running, R type. Or stabilized application, that is T type. But what are these burstable instances? Are you clear up to that? I mean, these points. So that is on the basis of the requirement, just choose it that. So suppose while launching the tensions, we have other options, right? So instance, whenever we are launching that, go to the instances and launch instances. This one we are talking that instance type. Which instance type do you want that? So we have the so many types which are available. C types, and you can easily, I mean, you can clearly see that how many core process units and how much memory that's, you see that here. C5, C is for the compute core process units related, 96 core process units with 192 GB that they are giving that. And if you go for the C5 extra large, the 4 core process units with 8 GB. So C5 12 times extra large. So that is 48 core process units and 96 gigabytes of the memory. And they're all like per hour based cost. Here itself you can see that. If it is Linux based or the Windows based, so on the basis of the AMI which you choose in that, this price which will be applicable. If you observe that M type of instances, but don't try to use it that this will be chargeable. But just know the concepts. The I type, these are all like IO optimized. So mostly the databases point of the which you can exit that. Yeah, M type. So there on you see that's core process units and memories. Yeah, you get it now 92 GB. So you see before C type whenever we are talking that 96 some core process units have been given with 192 GB. But now you see that's the M type of instance, 192 GB we got it, but 48 core process units only. That means process units they didn't give the priority to here. They have given that to the RAM capacity as a medium type of instances. But if you go for the same capacity and if you choose the C type, core process units are the more, almost 96 they have given that. But memory is the same, 192 GB. So more core process units, more load, it is allowing that. But internal process also required, right? Memories and all that also should be supported. Suppose memory I may have that the only 4 GB, but if I'm going to take it that 8 core process units, then there is no meaning at all. So core process units are like as a sockets which are allowing that to receive the requests. More requests you are receiving, then to handle that the request, memory is required. Okay, so that's the medium type. If you see that same RAM, but core process unit they have given the less. Yeah, that is on the base of the type which you are choosing, and they are given the resources capacity which is required to handle that the service. But what about the T2, T3 burstable and unlimited? Suppose you just think about the credit card. So I have taken the credit card and I'm using the credit card, but whenever we are using that, we get the rewards, right? Yes, boss, if you do this transaction, okay, these many rewards, you will get it. And if you do use it, this is the like something petrol based, and that is, yeah, oil in, I mean, something, what we can say, the travel based card. Then if I do the more traveling related transaction, I will get it more reward points. But okay, I'm using the credit card, and on the base of the usage, reward points are increasing that. But 1 month I don't have this money to pay the credit card. But what is that option that we have? That is my burstable situation. If I don't pay that, that is my civil rating and all that will be impacted. And additional interest charges and something. Yes, that is a burstable situation. But what is that option we have is, once you have the reward points, these reward points you can convert into the payment option and you can pay that. If you have the sufficient reward points, yes, you can convert into the payment option. That burstable situation, I can come out of that, right? If I have the sufficient reward points. If I don't have that, but they have given that, was okay, if you don't have the reward points, we will give the rewards point and we'll charge something. Then you can use these reward points to pay that. Then later you can pay this amount. So my interest charges, my credit, the score which I'm having, that's I'm able to handle it temporarily with the rewards which they have given that. The same type, that is burstable instances. Instead of saying that's the rewards, we say that credits. Yeah, AWS has a concept of the burstable instances. That is a T2, T3. Burst means that overall the instance has OK CPU performance. It should have the OK status. When the machine needs to process something unexpected, yes, some load is the high and the CPU is required the more, a spike in the load, then what's going to happen? That instance is going to get failure. But what is the concept we have to see AWS? AWS can burst that CPU and the situation will be in the good condition. That is going to handling by AWS. So if the machine bursts, it utilizes the credits. If all the credits are gone, then the CPU becomes bad. That means you don't have the credits to add it or to handle the CPU additional capacity. Then obviously about your CPU is going to in the bad situation, right? Yeah, if the machine stops bursting, credits are accumulated over. Yes, what this point is? Yeah, T2, T3. This is applicable only for T2, T3. A burstable instance can be amazing. I mean, can be amazing to handle unexpected traffic and getting the instance that it will be handled correctly. Yeah, this is handling that unexpected situations. If your body or insurance consistently runs low on credit, then you need to move to a different kind of non-burstable instance. Suppose I'm using the T2 type and my application keep on getting the burstable. Then what is the meaning for me? First, you are having the somewhat high load. The current capacity of the system which you have taken, that is not sufficient. Move to that another type of instance. That is a meaning, right? If it is keep on happening, that the burstable situation. So I need to think about the changing the capacity. Yeah, so here 2 points: credit usage and credit balance. How many credits you have that? Yes, you can watch it, the credit balance, and how much in which situation that the barista has happened and how many credits it was using that. You can keep track of that, the instance. Where do you have these options? So let me show that. For that, I need to launch the instance. Then let me launch one server quickly. Everyone, are you following this? Please, meanwhile, type this in the chat window. The following. So we are using the T2 type of instance, T2 or T3, which you can use it that. Key pair, actually, I don't need that. I don't want to log in it. Yes, proceed without a key pair. I don't want that. And security group also, normally I don't need that. But anyway, let me attach that existing one. And let me some options which belong to the burstable instances related T2, T3. This is especially applicable for T2, T3. So while launching that in the advanced details section, already we just understand something placement groups. Yes, that is one thing. And the tenancy also you can decide that is it a shared one, dedicated host. Yes, this is also the one option. But let's go for that. Where is this burstable? Yeah, credit specification. They are changing the name, credit specification. You see there's a standard or unlimited. If I specify the standard, if I'm having the credits balance, then with the credits, the burstable situation will be handled by AWS. The spike, whatever the additional resource required on the CPU, that will be handled, taking from my credits. But if I use it unlimited, whether I am having the credits in my account for that instance or not, it is going to handle the spike situation. But if it is going to use that additional CPU, then it will be chargeable. In monthly bill, I will get it, the additional cost to handle for that spike. Yeah, this is the specification which you can use it. Do you want to handle that, the burstable situation or not? Do you want to handle on the basis of about your credits? Or are you okay with that to pay this additional amount, but my system should have the stability? Then you can use it to this unlimited option. Yeah, this is one specification which belong to that T2 or T3 type of applications. So I'm not going to choose it anyone. So let me go ahead and launch the instance. But where you can see this all the credits and how many credits you have, and any spikes are happened on the EC2 instances or not. Where we can analyze it, those statistics is that is in the monitoring section of this EC2 instance. Once this EC2 instance is ready, if you go to the monitoring section, So here you can see the CPU utilization monitoring, system status check. Is it a failed? As we're talking about it, 2x2 statuses. Instance status, system status check. So that's I'll come back. Under network related statistics, you can see network in bytes network in, that means the data which has been downloaded. Network out, that means the data which has been uploaded. Network, how many packets that have been received, how many packets that have been sent it. Under disk read, in the bytes, disk read operations, disk write, how much data, disk write operations. So disk related statistics, CPU related statistics, network related statistics, system status check related the statuses, all these things we can get it in the monitoring tab. Not only that, for the T2, T3 type of instances, we can see that CPU credit usage. So was it using that? Any spikes or that happened? And in that spike, yes, was it used that any credits? That's we can analyze it. And how many still remaining credit balance that's we have. The balance also we can see that. It is kind of the credit card report, you can say. It is kind of the reward points, how many you have. Those rewards points, it has been used at any time or not. But here we see the credits. So in that EC2 instance monitoring section, we can analyze those statistics. There is a monitoring tab. So while launching that instance, you can opt it. Do you want to handle with normal cases or unlimited cases? That is one thing which belong to that T2 or T3 type of instance. But where I can monitor about it, that is in instance monitoring section. How is my system? Is it happening that keep on happening that the spikes on the system or not? Now I have taken the T2 micro, which is 101 GB, and I have launched something, a Tomcat server. And Tomcat server, some users are accessing that. But yes, sometimes the load is increased, sometimes the load is normal. But if the load is increased, the CPU is not sufficient, then the spike is happened. Then during the spike, the AWS is going to use my credits and it is going to handle the current situation. That is the beauty of it. Even you can start about your application with the low capacity of the systems and you can use it to this mechanism and you can go ahead. On the base of the utilization, then the next, okay, the keep on happening the spikes, then you change the type of instance. That means increase the CPU capacity. The next one that is required for about your application. But how many credits that is going to give by the AWS team? For which type of instance if we choose it, how many credits you will get it? If I choose the T2.nano, during launching time, I will get it 30 credits. Normally, whenever we take the credit card, they give that initial some reward points, right? 500 something. I mean, some initial offer. The same thing here also. Launch time, the credits on the basis of the type of, they're all applicable only T2 or T3 type of instance which are chosen, and the credits will be allocated. And this is the capacity of the system. There are the core process units for this type of instance. So per hour you are using that. I will get it 3 points additionally. So if I launch the T2 micro, and initially I will get it 30 and one core process units. And if I use it that instance for the 1 hour, then 6 more points, reward points I will get it. That means 30 plus 6, 1 hour. Then second hour, yes, 42. But maximum how many? I mean, it is not going to increase 1,000, not like that. it is going to have the maximum sum limit. What is the maximum? 144. It is going to allow that up to it. After the 144, but still you are not using these credits. Still you didn't use the credits, sorry. Still you didn't use the credits. The next 1 hour, one more 6 points will be added, right? That you are going to losing that because already you have reached the maximum. But meanwhile, if it is happening that any spikes, yes, as per the requirement from about your current credits which you have, it is going to take it and it is going to use it. Yeah, so one core process, if it is added, then percentage of that, the CPU utilization based, it is going to use the credits. So this is the burstable situation mechanism, the beautiful mechanism from the AWS. Yeah, if it is a spike is happening from about your credit balance, it is going to use that CPU credit usage, credits used per CPU utilization above 0. And whenever you are running the EC2 instance, the credits will be added. But the credits are having the some limit, that is 144 something we are talking that for the T2 micro. After that, all the credits you are going to losing that. Credits and above the maximum do not occur. Yeah, so that's about understanding launch type, launching methods, burstable situations, how it is providing that. Yes, the small scale application, if you're launching that, start with the basic T2 or T3 on the base of the minimum requirement initially and analyze about your spikes, how it's happening that. Then on the base of then you can move into that either high capacity or low capacity. They're all like a cost optimization techniques. Yesterday and today, whatever we are talking that on the EC2, these are all the very, very important. Not just launching the EC2 instance, connecting and using that, okay, successfully done. No. So if you are going to explain that the cost saving mechanisms, what do we have from the EC2? Yes, these points are the important. On the base of the database transactions, on the middleware transactions, identifying the type of instances. So are you going to launch that the cache systems for about your application, or are you going to launch the databases? And database, that is what is the load that you are expecting, read write operations per second based, IOPS we'll call it, IO operations per second based. These are all application load. So do you need that C type or I type? C type, that is a compute process based. I type, that is IO operations based. Or if you have the medium, yes, you can go for the medium type. Or graphical process units, that is video based applications. And if you need that more graphics, pixels based, then you can use it the GPU based application. I mean the types. So the beauty how they have come up with the cloud providers. So on the base of the client use cases they have analyzed and they are giving the solutions for us, right? Because if they give the only one instance and only one option, who will use it that? Yeah, so that's about some important points understanding and you can explore it. So on this, so browsing that the AWS documentation and as well as Amazon console, some advanced option. 3 or 4 additional properties we discussed with yesterday's and today's concepts. Placement group sections, one thing, and another one is burstable, the credit specification, one thing. Spot requests, how you can request it while launching, that is another thing. There are some advanced some settings that we are observing that. Are you following the points, everyone? These concepts, especially interviews, that is going to help in that. And the client is, there's some clients, they don't know about all these things and they ask you once you join that. First, this is about our database and we are planning to launch EC2 instance and can you suggest that which one do we go ahead with that? Then you need to ask us, as database we are talking that, do you have any IO operations? The based I need to look into that, or process based I need to look into that, or memory based I need to look into that. That is those inputs you need to take it, and as per this, AWS is providing this kind of launch types. Yes, then you can suggest that. Are you following? Are you good with this? Price optimization techniques from the EC2. That means we are concluding this section. Some important about this section. Next, we come to that AMI section. Once this is done, next we are coming to that this section, volumes and snapshots. And in the network and security, some points which we discussed, that is security groups and elastic IPs, or if the dedicated host placement groups creation from here, and key pairs, that is connecting to the key pairs point of view. Yeah, there are all some sections on the network. Then we'll see that load balancers, how do we define it, and with the scaling groups. Yes, before coming to this, next two more concepts, AMIs, volumes, which we need to discuss that. And here, let me talk it some settings of that. Suppose that like this, I have given this management console to the freshers. A fresher has joined, and I have given the fresher this environment to manage it. Some development environment. The instances was moderate and start it or stop it some activities. And I have given the full access. Anyway, that is development environment. Okay, I have given the full access. But there is a possibility of the termination, right? Unexpected the termination. So if he's going to request the terminate instance, and if you click on this confirmation, then that instance will be terminated. But I need to protect it. Protect it from the terminations. Auto termination should not be done. Then what is the setting that we can use it that? Yeah, this is also if you refer this in the advanced way, but let me show it here. We go to the instance settings and you can see there's a change termination protection. So termination protection by default, it is not enabled. But if I enable this option and if I save this, now my instance is protected from the termination. If anyone has come to here and they have chosen this instance, and if I go for that terminate instance, and if I confirm it, fail to terminate an instance, it won't be terminated because that has been protected. And what it is saying that if you really want to terminate it, then modify its disable API termination instance attribute and try again. Then if you really want to terminate it, then go back to the instance settings and change termination protection, disable this, then save it. Then you can go back to this instance. And you can select this instance and you can go ahead and terminate it. This is one setting. Protection of the termination. Next, one more setting, what do you have? This is instance settings, stop protection. So enable the stop protection to prevent about your instance from being accidentally stopped. Stop also they have given that. If I enable this option, then you cannot stop the instance. If you'd like to stop it, you need to disable it. Then you need to, or you can stop it that. Termination protections, stop productions, those settings you can see. And another settings, what do we have? These are all which we can do while launching also. Whatever I'm talking that, all these properties, while launching in the advanced settings, you can just observe these points. Yeah, the stop behavior. Stop production. Do you want to enable or disable that? So while launching itself, you can enable, disable these properties. And a detailed CloudWatch monitoring. This one I will talk it later. By default, it is not enabled, and don't enable it also. If you enable it, you will get it. I mean, it will be chargeable. What is the detailed monitoring? That's I'll talk it later. Just we observe in the monitoring section, right? Those statistics, normally it is going to have it every 5 minutes by default. Every 5 minutes that will be updated the statistics. Suppose credit usage, credit rewards, we didn't see this anything, right? We have launched instance, but we didn't see anything. That means that will be updated every 5 minutes by default. But in the real time, we don't wait for the 5 minutes to update the statistics or KPIs. So that's required maybe every second or every minute as accurate the results if you need it. Within the seconds, it has to be updated. So that's we say the detailed monitoring. If you need that every 1 minute, default is every 1 minute. If you enable this enable option and CloudWatch all the metrics, that will be updated every 1 minute. But by default, it is not enabled. That means every 5 minutes. And shutdown behavior. Yes, whenever you stop the instance, do you want to stop that instance or do you want to terminate the instance? Normally stopping means stopping, right? But you can define stop action also as a termination if you don't want that. Yeah, there are some options which you can find it. Create specification, placement groups, detailed CloudWatch monitoring, stop protection, termination protection, hibernate behavior, shutdown behavior, and spot instances request. These roles I will talk it later. The roles also we can attach it. That's I'll talk it later. Yeah, there are some settings understanding from the EC2 instance. Security groups is another settings. And user data is another setting. And in the monitoring section, if you just observe that, whatever we are talking that, so it is going to now you see there's some statistics from here of this EC2 instance. Initially, it was 2.2% it was used, but now it is not using because we just launched it. It is not running any process. So it is almost like the very less 0.16 CPU utilization. And the network, this is about status. Yeah, all the statuses are okay, no failures. Yeah, there's a network in and network out operations. Disk, we are not writing any disk operations. And you see that so it is got that count almost how many credit balance? 30 we got it initially, but it is increasing as 1 hour it runs. Then it is going to add it to 6 more. Right, T2 micro as we are talking that. 36 I will be having after 1 hour. But any spike is happened and any more CPUs required, then it is going to CPU credit usage. You can see that here. You can go to the review metrics and logs. That is, I'll talk it later. CloudWatch metrics and all that. But yes, in the instance level itself, you can monitor this. But these statistics are the metrics are updating with the interval of every 5 minutes. But if you need that detailed monitoring, yes, after you enable the detailed monitoring for an instance, monitoring data is available in 1 minute period. Yes, in the real time we'll enable this, but here don't use it. That's enough. 5 minutes with the metrics enough. But if you enable this, that will be chargeable, because you are requesting that keep on update the metrics of this instance in the monitoring section. So that's about some important points understanding on the settings section, and as well as understanding the launch types, the types of instances. So in which context, which one is recommended, and what is the T2, T3 burstable instances. Yeah, that's some important points. And tomorrow we'll talk about that AMI. Can we create about our custom AMIs? We are using AWS Amazon AMI, but I would like to create for my application my own custom AMI. Can we define it? Yes, we can define it. We have the AMI options and the launch template options. Yes, we will talk it those concepts tomorrow. Tomorrow we have the class and we will log in the same time, almost around 9:40 we'll log in it and we'll continue. Is it clear? The yesterday and today is somewhat like theoretical concepts, but required understanding all the cost optimization with the real-time use cases and scenarios point of view. Those things are required. Are you clear with these points? Is it good? Or if you have any queries, questions, please let me know. How do you feel? Is it good? All these concepts interesting?
Sir, but we need to revise this as these are important for interview. We have more of theoretical content.
Sorry, pardon.
As we have more of theoretical content, we need to revise this.
Yeah, yes, that
We
is
can't get
required.
that time.
Yeah, exactly. That is
If it
one
is a
or two.
practical content, if we are working on it, we will get it in the class only. But
Yes,
like
yes.
theory, we need to work this.
Correct, correct. These things I cannot give the demonstration here, but these are all like a client use cases and client scenarios point of view. We should handle that. But the concepts required, I should not skip it without explaining all these things. Because if I skip it, I can show that, okay, EC2 we have launched it, we have connected, we have user data section launching, and all the things we have done. And I can just directly step into the next AMI and all the things. But once you join and before going to choose that for whatever database launching purpose, that EC2 instance, or the middleware purpose, that EC2 instance, or web server point of view to take this EC2 instance, the capacity point of view, and short-term workloads or the long-term workloads point of view, all those points considerations are the important. So that's why, yes, yesterday's and today's concept, somewhat, yes, the use cases and those use cases point of view, what are the solution that is available from AWS team while choosing the instances. So with the cost optimization mechanisms, that is very, very important. Suppose client he's asked this one EC2 instance and yes, you have set up everything, but end of the month he is getting the surprising with the bill. But next month you have done some optimization and you have reduced the cost on the bill, then he feels very happy or not. Because in the first month you don't know that, you just launched it with on demand and you just installed and you continued that. But client is surprised at the end of the month in his the billing section, and he's asking us why we are getting this much, and but I don't have any load on that application and all that. Then if you use it the proper launch type mechanism, then if we save it some cost to him, definitely he feels happy, right? Those happy moments to see from the client, these concepts required to know it. Simple. Is it clear my point?
Clear, sir.
Yeah, good. Yeah, 1 or 2 times refer it. Definitely, that is not possible one time to get it. Yes, just anyway, weekend is coming that.
Yes,
So
sir.
with
We
the
need to revise it.
yeah, yes, exactly.
Sir, one more thing. Shell script exam answers you didn't upload it.
Yeah, yeah. I do that. I didn't get that exam
Okay.
the results. Okay, I'll collect today and I'll prepare that the
Okay.
page and I'll upload it. That
Okay. Okay. Fine.
we need to do some work for it. It is not just giving, but definitely, yeah. That is
Okay.
it's got delayed. I forgot it. I'll do that.
Just I want to refer it once.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
That is my responsibility to give it, but I forgot it. Yeah, I will do that.
Okay. This weekend, is there any exam, sir?
Yeah, you will be having on AWS with the IAM.
Okay.
I need to check it EC2 if it is completed tomorrow. But the next, what are the points we have? I'll check it and we'll confirm that.
Okay. Okay.
But tomorrow you have the class and we'll attend that.
Yeah, sir.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, any other points? Anyone? Yeah, try to take it this video and go ahead with fast forward options and review 1 or 2 times. And not only that, just to open that management console and just browse it the options which are available. The advanced section, especially yesterday and today, we are talking that advanced settings. That is about termination behavior, stopping behavior, then placement groups. If you would like to add it, where do you have that option? Spot request, if you would like to convert that on demand to spot, where do you have that option? And user data section and the credit specification, what is that field and why do we need it, in which context we use it. That is a T2 type of the permissible cases to define it. You can use it that specification. Yeah, just go ahead one time that advanced settings on these points, then you will be good. Thank you all. So that's all from my side. I'm going to log off for today. We'll meet tomorrow and we'll continue with the AMI concepts. That is interesting concept. Some practical things. Yes, we have the practical. They will come back to that. Yeah, thank you. Thank you all.